this is going to be exciting.
Here we go, restart zone to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Week 13 brings us back to the United States. The West Coast and the Monterey, California Sun play host to this latest round of the Goat Locker Racing Sports Car Championship. My name is Jacob Lenke. Along with me in the booth are Daniel Cunningham and Eddie Smith with Skylar Daly on production. Daniel, how are we feeling today about this wonderful sunny day in Laguna Seca?
I'm feeling good about this one. This is one that when the schedule came out, I've really been looking forward to. This track is really fun. I kind of wish I was out there running it tonight, so this should be a good one.
Excellent, packed with history. Eddie, how do you feel?
Laguna Seca is my favorite track of all time. From the time that I was a young kid playing games on controllers with game consoles, Laguna Seca has always been my favorite track. It's the most technical track. You don't have hardly any time full throttle. It's all about who gets through the corners the best, the most efficient. Love it.
Speaking of best and most efficient, Ken Huber leads the way in points, followed by Bobby Germain and Zachary Minnis as we get into the late stages of the championship schedule. As I mentioned before, we're here in week 13. Miami is our next stop on the opposite end of the country, and we round off the season at Circuit des Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. But first, let's take a look at WeatherTech Speedway Laguna Seca.
Yeah, located in Monterey, California, Laguna Seca. You can see 11 turns on this track, and you can see just twisty turns. You know, you've got some nice sweepers, and you've got some really sharp corners, but you've got that corkscrew. That is the one that everybody thinks about. It's like, what, 4 or 5 stories that you drop down through that corner, and it could cause a mess in a heartbeat.
Yep, 180 feet of elevation change, 11 corners, and 25 shifts here.
It's a fun track. I mean, golly. I don't know if you guys have raced on it much, but I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite tracks to drive. And tonight we've got the GT3 cars. What a perfect combo to throw all of the different cars out there tonight. And this season's been pretty incredible, huh?
Yep, the GT3 season so far has been looked lights out. I wanted to get in on it a couple times. I tried to join in Monza. It didn't work out for me. But despite how the points look, it's been super competitive in the mid-pack, and it's put on some great racing. It's a shame we haven't been able to see it up until now.
Yeah, well, Ken Huber has been kicking everybody's butt. But Bobby Jermaine, very, very good driver. And you can see Huber wins last week, leads all laps last week at Alton Park to take home the 6th win. Mike Browning there in 2nd place. That's really cool to see him. And those guys over there, Mike Browning, Jake Ham, those guys are really, really good. And Tim Jones there is sitting in the booth with us tonight. He come home with that 3rd place finish.
Yes, sir. Tim Jones, the series director for the GT3 series, and has put together a barn burner of a schedule, and it is not disappointed in the slightest. We got about a minute left in qualifying here. Do we have any predictions on who do we think we're going to get? Daniel, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm looking at the standings here from qualifying, which I know we'll deep dive to in here in a minute, but I'm just looking who could possibly throw a challenge up to Ken Huber, and one of the names that I haven't seen race a whole lot in this series this season that's here tonight is Jeremy Gardner's making a start. So I know he's really fast on the oval side, and I'm really curious to see what he's going to be able to do tonight if he can get up there and put some pressure on Ken for that #1 spot.
Yep, that WeatherTech Corvette doing solid. Looks like he's going to round out P6 here in qualifying. Eddie, who do you got?
Well, I mean, if we're going to say who's going to challenge Ken Huber, I think right now, based on the qualifying, just being a realist, Bobby Jermaine's the only one that's really even close. But anything can happen at this track. It is pretty wild how quickly things can go wrong. So many, turns that are just odd. The first section, turns 3 and 4 and 5 are just kind of awkward how they flow, and so it doesn't take but one mistake and you end up in the tire barrel. So anybody could take this one tonight, but Ken starting on the front row, it's going to be hard to beat him.
Yep, Bobby Jermaine, the only Audi driver in the field. Ken Huber, one of the many Chevrolet Corvettes in representation tonight as we start to move toward our starting lineup. Ken Huber with a 122.4 puts himself in first position. Bobby Jermaine following him up on the outside. Kyle Wilson in the 403 Ford Mustang with Samuel Egg in the Mercedes AMG. Jamie Libke in another Corvette lined up with Jeremy Gardner. That's a full Chevrolet row 3. Zachary Minnis in the McLaren number 13 rolls off 7th. Kevin Price in the Porsche rolls off 8th. Jason Black in the McLaren and Casey Jones and our lone Ferrari in the field round out our top 10.
Yeah, in 11th is Tyler White, one of our Sim Rig recipients. He's racing in the field with us alongside of another Sim Rig recipient, Joshua Unger. So they'll be rolling off 11th to 12th. 13th going to be Patrick Hagan. That's actually Nick Hagan. That's the Sim Rig giveaway winner before Tyler White is actually Nick Hagan. And then you got another Sim Rig winner giveaway recipient, Brian Frauheiger. So the two rows there of Sim Rig recipients. How about that? And then round out your field is going to be Brock Price in that number 17 Ford Mustang GT3.
As always, it's excellent to see the representation from the SimRig giveaway drivers in any of our Goat Locker series that we have put on here, and it is super exciting to get them not only in the Oval Series, but in the Road Series, such as this one.
Yeah, it seems like they kind of jumped in there and jumped on board, but get ready to go green here, Jacob.
All right, Ken Huber leads them to the line. Large jump. We got Bobby Jermaine. Kyle Wilson leads to the inside of him, pulling into the 2nd spot. We're going to round out we're going to straighten out here. Slight battle for 4th and 5th as Jamie Libke edges out Samuel Egg to go past.
Yeah, very close call there. Zachary Minnis thought about taking it 3 wide, and he actually backed out at the last second. He's going to fall back into that what looks to be 4th position, or actually 6th position at the, or excuse me, 5th. With a close call there early is trying to get those positions as quickly as you can, because it's going to start to get spread out here.
Zachary Minnis looking to challenge Jamie Lipke as they get up toward the Ray Hall straight after turn 6, leading up to the most known part of this course, and one we're probably going to see a lot of tonight, the corkscrew.
Yeah, this is the most fun part of the track for me. These guys are going through here. The car unloads. It's so hard to drive through there and carry some speed, but everybody doing a really good job getting through there, keeping things nice and clean first time around here.
Yep, no issues getting through as we have a little bit of a battle for position. Brock Price getting past Brian Freihager toward the back.
Yeah, and so far so good for Ken Huber, who's going to lead the way. Is looks like Freihager actually pulling out of the pits at the moment. Decided he's going to start in the pits, and he's going to come out right with the whole group. And that, man, that's like the worst feeling in the world. You're like, okay, I'm going to start in the pits, stay out of the mess, and then literally come out on track right in the middle of the field as he pulls out slowly in that number 03 Chevy Corvette. He's going to let everybody by, but I don't think he meant to come out where he did.
I don't think he did, but I don't think it's going to be an issue for a lot of our drivers here maneuvering around him. Though there's contact between him and Brock Price momentarily, I think everybody is shook out just about where they're going to after that. Ken Huber stretched his lead to about 0.8 of a second as they head into the corkscrew for a second time.
Yeah, coming down through the corkscrew, we got 2nd and 3rd place running pretty close together here. Bobby Germain looked like he was trying to take a look. It's just so hard to make that pass stick unless you're alongside him once you already get into that turn.
There's not a whole lot of passing zones. That's the tough part about this track as well. Like, if you almost feel like you have to take dives or just wait on mistakes. Like, the real only good passing zone is right here. As they come down the front straightaway, and if you don't nail the final corner, turn 11, like you're not gonna pass anybody. So you've got to be there. Like right now, Bobby Germain gave up that 2nd position to I think Kyle Wilson, and now it's just gonna be riding behind that Mustang until either there's a mistake or he can get close enough to take a dive, most likely. So gonna be tough for these guys to make passes. Passing gonna be a premium.
Yep, Bobby Germain, no stranger to the P2 position. I'm sure he's finished a couple times, as I think we've just seen, we've possibly some network issues for Ken Huber. I just watched him pop in and out on my screen.
Well, that's important. I mean, for these guys fighting for 2nd place, you know, when Ken's in the race, you kind of feel like, my goodness, this thing's over. I'm not going to win. But you know, we've been racing on computers for a long time. Some of us, we know there's no mechanical issues. There's no, engine getting blown unless you just really do something crazy. No brake failures. But here online racing across telephone lines and cable lines, internet issues are the mechanical failures. And so that's the one thing you don't want to have happen. Ken got this championship mostly locked up, but I know those guys behind him are just kind of hoping that squirrel chews through that line and they can maybe get a win.
Yep, hoping and hurting for a win by any means necessary, as Huber is pulled out 2 seconds over Kyle Wilson. Bobby Germain just ever so slightly behind by about 0.5 seconds, and then the closest fight on the track as of right now would be for the 4th spot. We've got Jeremy Gardner, Zachary Minnis, and Jamie Lipke under a blanket fighting for that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You could even throw Samuel Egg into that conversation too. He's starting to close in on this group. It seems like Zachary Minnis might be a little bit faster than Jamie right now. It's just, Eddie, you hit the nail on the head earlier that it's so hard to pass here that it could easily get somebody back in the fight behind.
Oh, Kyle Wilson!
Oh, and he pulls back out.
Oh, bad rejoin!
Oh my goodness, sorry Jacob.
It is all good, not for Kyle Wilson. We just watched him make a rejoin to that point, and it looks like...
Yeah, we just watched the replay. Wow, great job. And yeah, it just looks like he locks up the brakes on entry. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was talking about. These corners are odd and they're weird. And running second place, you're trying to find all that speed that you can. And he just pushed it a little bit too hard. He's trying to run down Ken Huber. Somebody like Ken really makes you overdrive the car. And yeah, that's a bummer.
Yep, no contact was made. Casey Jones was the one that we saw run off track there in the Oreo machine. Looks like Wilson's going to shake out in 8th as we see a move by Jeremy Gardner to the inside of Samuel Egg.
Yeah, oh, sorry, Daniel.
Oh, no, you're good. So Jeremy did a really good job getting on the brakes late into the Andretti hairpin. Just kind of drove it down in there and made that move stick and was able to take P4 from Zachary there.
Yep, all 4 of those cars still under a blanket. Samuel Egg looking on in the catbird seat, while the 2 in the middle fight for position chasing after Jamie Lipke.
Yeah, Jeremy, fantastic job. Menace lost a little bit of time there right now. Jeremy Garner is the second fastest driver on the track. Ken Huber running 123.3s. Everybody else inside the top 5 is running into 124. So he's over a second faster than most of these drivers that last time by. But I think this battle for second and third is going to be hot all race long because they are running very, very similar lap times. But Ken here, I mean, we're going to see him in the booth from time to time. But Ken has just been unbelievable all season. You see he's throwing up a little dust. It's almost like giving the finger to the guys behind you when you throw little rooster tails after him. But you know, he's just so smooth. It's so hard to understand why these guys are so much better until you go on board with them and you watch them drive and you think, oh gosh, he's got to be driving all over the place. He's got to be just, we got a driver off track. The 16 of Jamie Lipke goes off track. And he is slow as everybody gets around him.
Yep, so Lipke ends up pulling, Lipke ends up pulling it back. Egg having lined up back in front of them. Looks like that's going to drop Lipke back to 6th position, and we're going to have another shuffle for that 4th place fight.
Yeah, Jeremy Gardner, the big benefactor out of that. He was able to move through into 3rd, and we were talking about his pace earlier. Still the second fastest driver on track right now, so we'll see what he can do if he can set his sights on Bobby Germain and start reeling him in for that number 2 spot.
Watching it go down in this corkscrew, it is so much fun. And you get the blind corner, like you cannot see, and you're putting so much faith and trust in the guys that are racing around you. The car just completely lightens up. You got all that downforce until you go down that hill, and then is he gonna jump the turtles? And oh my goodness, the front end of that Corvette goes flying up into there. Thank God it's a mid-engine car, not a front engine. We might be talking about him retiring, and that's gonna allow Zachary Menace to get right around him. Those are those small mistakes, my goodness.
Zachary Menace and the Air Force McLaren taking full advantage of that miscue by Jeremy Gardner. We got a shot of Bobby Germain in the foreground of that last debacle. He is currently sitting just over 5 seconds ahead of P3.
Yeah, that'll scare the mess out of you. These little turtles, if you're not aware, you know, these tracks don't like folks for using up all the track, and so they put these little turtles in the way to try to, it's kind of like a speed bump when you're going through a neighborhood. You know, they want you to slow down, and you hit those turtles, you hit them just, like there are certain angles you have to hit these things at to be fast, and if you hit them at the wrong angle, and we saw exactly there with Jeremy Gardner what can go wrong. You see Ken Huber now working through some lap traffic, and it looks like that was Patrick Hagan there in that McLaren. Let him go, and actually looking at Patrick Hagan's front end, looks like he's got a little bit of damage on the hood of that machine. So a little bit of contact there, and his right front is actually a little bit maybe towed out as well. So Nick Hagan not having a great run so far, but he's still out on track.
Yep. At least he's getting out on track. He's putting that work in. Every lap counts toward building something better here. We are having it looks like the group in P3-4 is hitting lap traffic as well as Zachary Menace and Jeremy Gardner get around Brian Frauhager, but that looks like it's brought Gardner straight back to the bumper of Zachary Menace.
Yeah, that definitely allowed Jeremy to close in that WeatherTech Corvette. He's got him in his sights. We'll see if he can do anything here. It's something that I've been noticing these last few laps with our camera angles that we have is just how much dirt and debris there is on the track off the racing line now in some of these turns from just guys going off course and coming back on, and that's going to make it even harder to make these passes stick. That, you know, you've got to contend with that and the loss of grip.
Nick Hagan in the grass right before the corkscrew. Such a really bad place to be throwing up stuff all over the track, because we got a side-by-side battle here between Zachary Menace and Jeremy Garner, and through the corkscrew, Zachary Menace able to hold on to that spot for now, as these guys have been going back and forth all race long. Garner, though, trying to put pressure back on Zachary after that near liftoff earlier.
Yeah, Gardner took a little bit of liberty to the inside on the entry, but as soon as they went through the corkscrew proper, his entire car was almost in the sand, which allowed Menace to gather a little bit more of a gap. He's up to a second now.
Yeah, Jeremy was trying to get away with a little bit of a shortcut there through the corkscrew, which I can't blame him for giving it a shot, but probably not the fastest way to try to make that pass happen.
No, it is not. And Samuel Egg looks like he is 1.5 back from this group here, as we are looking at Kyle Wilson working on Kevin Price further back. This is for the 7th spot. 3/10 of a second separate them.
Yeah, after that mistake, Kyle trying to fight back through the field in that Ford Mustang Dark Horse, and he is running down the Porsche. Two opposite cars. They couldn't be any different. You've got sort of the pinky finger in the air car, which is the Porsche. It's the rear engine. Such a fun car to drive. One of the best, in my opinion, on the service. It's just got so much life in it. Makes a cool noise. But it just responds different. All these GT3 cars do act a little bit different. They're all kind of spec'd out like they're supposed to, but their rear engine, mid engine, and the front engine makes a huge difference on how these cars handle. The Porsche, very, very good at tracks like this, but that Mustang behind them, completely different. Front engine, rear wheel drive, you know, not really as heavy as you would think it is, but is heavy. But you can go down the corner in that car and you can just stomp the gas and that bad boy or rotate. Where the Porsche, you have to be a little bit careful on entry. You'll have a little bit of understeer, but you can actually just completely stomp it once you hit the apex just right, and it will grip up. All the weight's in the back. It's a fun car to drive. So two completely opposite vehicles here. And right now, it looks like Kevin Price starting to pull away from Kyle just a little bit as he starts to fade back.
Yep, and the attribute that I always look for when I'm selecting a car to run in series like this is which one sounds the best. I don't know a lot about road racing, but I can tell you one thing. My personal favorite is the most recent edition, which would probably be the Acura.
Yeah,
you know, I'm glad to hear Jacob say that, though, that's how he makes his decision with it, because I thought I was the only one that just based it off of which one sounded the coolest or which one looked the best, but that's how I landed in the Corvette for everything. So thanks for helping me feel a little bit better about my choice, Jacob.
I mean, if you like a weed eater, yeah, the Corvette's a perfect choice. you go listen to that Mustang, and you go to the Corvette, and you tell me that the Corvette holds any kind of candle. That wonderful sound coming out of that Coyote motor in that Dark Horse, unbelievable. The Mercedes sounds really good as well. iRacing has gotten so much better at the sound department. It used to be, you know, not great, but man, every time they come out with a new car, they just nail it when it comes to the sound of these cars. And that's so important, right? Like when you go to a race, if you're a NASCAR fan, if you're a F1, I mean, think about how many things are legendary on sound alone. You talk to anybody that's an old school F1 fan, what are they going to talk about, guys? They're going to talk about the V12, the V10.
Oh, yeah.
Like whatever one you love, that sound, they love it. The sound is a huge part of motorsports, and so far iRacing has knocked it out of the park. The new ARCA car on the oval side sounds amazing. So these GT3s are so much fun with the different characteristics of all the cars, and then be able to put them on the track and make them race very similar. It's really nice.
Yep, another favorite sound of mine when it comes to the GT3s would be the hammer, the AMG Mercedes, and that Josh Unger machine that we just watched during that conversation. Ken Huber still out to a comfortable 7-second lead. Bobby Germain behind, running in P2. Zachary Minnis in third. Jeremy Gardner pulling in fourth. Samuel Egg is in fifth.
Yeah, it's starting to spread out a little bit. You know, we've got some battles here. As you see Kyle Wilson going off track again. He's really pushing that Mustang to try to get around Kevin Price. But Ken Huber out to a massive lead, and then just kind of tapers off to that third place where there's about, I don't know, 4 cars within that little gap. Jeremy Garner has, looks like he has gone off track, gone around. Jeremy Garner slow on the track, and he's going to lose all those positions.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting him back after a while, though, as he is settled in back in the 6th spot. Yeah, he just loops it.
It's the same thing we've been talking about a couple of times already tonight. It's just so easy to make a mistake here at this track. Bit Jeremy right there, but as you said, Jacob, I have no doubt that he will find his way back up there. That's the thing with this track. You got to push the limits. You got to try to find places to make speed, use every inch of the track, and sometimes that's just going to lead to making a mistake.
Yep, push the limit, hit your marks even if they're in the sand. Jamie Libke settling into that 5th spot now, a little under 2 seconds behind Samuel Egg.
About 42 minutes left in this race. These races are an hour long, a little bit different than what we normally do, where they are laps, the way it's counted. This is done by time, so once the timer runs down, the leader takes the white flag and they'll do one more lap. So a long way. This is, you know, not endurance style. This is a sprint right around an hour mark. You know, so, you know, you see these cars in endurance racing, but, you know, this is sort of, it feels like an endurance. You know, you don't have any cautions to take a break. As you can see Kyle Wilson still trying to run down Kevin Price, but you know, you don't really get a break here. The only break you get is when you come down pit road to make that pit stop, and so we'll see when folks decide to do that. But you know, it's hard to run the cars without any kind of cautions for a whole hour straight and to not make any mistakes, especially at this track.
Speaking of mistakes, I think we just watched Kyle Wilson make their way around Kevin Price there as he goes off track.
Yep. Yeah, guys are starting to push their tires a little bit, you know. Well, we've seen some slides here and there, and honestly, the tires are starting to maybe fade a little bit. These cars keep the tires under them pretty well, but you can't abuse them. And if you overhit these tires, especially where we are in California, the track is 95 degrees, so it's not like they can stay cool. So it's possible to slide the rears or drive too deep into the corners, heat the fronts up, and that will just continue to push that tire over and over again. As we're on board with Tyler White, making his first start in GLR. He said he's been running some AI races, and now he's out here with the big boys trying to chase down, looks like Josh Unger for 13th. This is a battle between 12th and 13th, and these guys, sim rig recipients, battling out on track. I love to see it. Oh, Josh Unger going to pull down pit road.
Yeah, that's going to cede the position to Tyler White. That was the closest battle on track to this point since we had the debacle up front for 4th, and it was back and forth. Unger was able to hold the position, but it looks like White's going to settle out here for 12th.
Yeah, the one battle I'm starting to look at right now is Casey Jones in 9th has been running down Kevin Price after Kevin had that off track earlier, so it seems like he might be struggling a little bit with his tires or with his car. You know, it sometimes when you get that off track, it does take a little while to get the tires cleaned back up and get the grip back in them. So Casey rather doing a good job in that Ferrari trying to chase down Kevin for the 8th spot here.
7, 8, 9 all having had prior off tracks. Casey Jones going through the gravel to avoid the spinning Kyle Wilson earlier, and Kevin is wanting to keep that blue Oreo machine behind him as long as possible here.
And I don't know if we have an award tonight for best paint scheme, but if we do, I think I'd have to give it to that blue Oreo car. Man, that thing just, it gives me the Dale Jr. vibes from when he was running those AC Delco and the Oreo schemes back in the old Busch series, and that thing just looks good out there.
Yeah, I love the Ferrari. It's always going to go side by side with Nick Hagan. I love the Ferrari. It looks really, really cool, and you put an Oreo paint scheme on there. I mean, I'm a bigger guy, so you put Oreos in anything, I'll be excited. I might eat that car.
Amen.
I'm honest. So, a lot of people maybe drink too heavily. I think I eat Oreos too heavily. He actually blinks out. Oh. Scary moment. But back on track, no problem there. I gotta tell you, I gotta look at these stats, and it is crazy how good Ken Huber is. Average finish so far this season is second with those 6 wins, but Bobby Germain has been really impressive. And I didn't know this. I've been racing with Bobby for a long time, running in that second position. And he is a very, very good road course racer. We have raced on ovals plenty of times, and we got out here the first time in this GT3 race, and he was just smoking fast. So I love to see the different disciplines, and I'm glad to see that the SimRig recipients really kind of gravitate towards this series. It's such a great series, and I hope this one continues because it's so much fun. Just the different cars, and then folks, seems like folks really like it.
Everybody branching out and broadening their horizons. Bobby Germain running the only Audi in the field. Save 22 and Goat Locker all over that machine, as he is currently settled about 10 seconds back from our leader, Ken Huber.
Casey Jones starting to put a little move here on Kevin Price. He tried to do a little look here. Sorry, Skyler. But he took a look down to the inside, could not quite get it, and Brock Price, who is in a beautiful... Oh! Kevin Price hard into that wall.
Just pushing a little too hard, trying to hang on to that position, and with the pressure that Casey was putting on him, it's been the theme of the night that we've been talking about. Just so easy to make that mistake and get off track, and especially in that area, once it's gone, it's gone.
He's got a cheater front bumper too, because it fell off and then it just yanked back on. So I think we need to take a look at that 80 machine, because he's got like little zip ties in his cockpit and just pulled the bumper back together.
As he pulls into the pit lane to get that damage looked at, we're getting close to halfway done in this. We're about 25 minutes in. We're looking at Jamie Libke starting to reel in the Mercedes of Samuel Egg, the 43 Patriotic machine. They're pulling through turn 6 now, up the straight toward the corkscrew.
Yeah, Lipke's having a great run tonight. He started in the 5th position. He's running that in that Lambda Legal number 16 Corvette. And now he's running off all over the back bumper of Samuel Legg as he's trying to go around Brian Froheiger. And now here it comes. Oh man, Lipke took a look to the outside, but Samuel kind of closed the door as this battle's starting to heat up really, really fast.
Yep, that'll be for the 4th position as Libke starts to gain a little bit more ground with the miscue from the lap car in front.
Yeah, Jamie took full advantage of that lap traffic and how they came up on it. It definitely hurt Samuel more than it hurt Jamie in that aspect. And try to get close enough going into that Andretti hairpin to try to make a move, but just a little too far back. Gonna have to try to reel that gap in a little bit more.
Yeah, Jeremy Garner kind of lurking in the background. You can see him coming around the corner. We talked about him running off track, trying to make up some of that time, and he's loving to see this battle because Samuel really can't focus on just hitting his marks. He's watching that rear view camera that they have in the car, and similar to the way the next gen car is, they have a little camera that they can watch. You can see it right there. Great job. You can see he's able to look behind him and see what's coming. So Samuel is going up through these very technical turns, and all he can see is that 16 behind him trying to run him down.
Yep, Jamie Libke in that Corvette has, I want to say, been the most improved driver between last fall season and this season that we're running right now. I see them in almost every race, all week. They've made the playoffs in several different series, late models especially. And they are showing that they are doing just as well in road as they have been on the oval circuit as well.
And I think that's the most impressive thing about the progress that Jamie has shown across all these series is all the cars are so different. I mean, there's not really anything, at least I wouldn't think there's a whole lot that you're going to learn running a late model that's going to translate over to a GT3 car. And yet Jamie's just been doing a really good job, steady moving up the leaderboards every week. And it's really cool to see a lot of these newer folks, especially people that are veterans and fall into the main group of what we're here for in Goat Locker, hanging around and racing and showing that improvement.
Yep, as we're looking at Tyler White, who's moved up to P10 after a Brock Price pit stop. They just fought their way through the corkscrew. Ooh. Price looking to make a move to the inside. Very ambitious through the turn there as White sees the position, and Brock just on those fresh rubbers, getting more heat put into him, is going to want to walk away here.
Brock Price with the best looking paint scheme on the track. What a beautiful car. And man, I think he's on the move. He's up 5 spots from where he started. Zachary Menace, the only one who has gotten anywhere close to that many drivers up through the field. Brock has really been moving. It looks like we got a few folks coming down pit road. Zachary Menace, Samuel Egg coming down pit road to make their stop here with 33 minutes left in this race.
Yep, that'd be your P3 and P4 drivers as they try to make that undercut, see if they can shock Huber into making either a miscue on pit road or go a little too long on his current run.
Yeah, and something worth noting too, because we have seen some guys going off track and getting damage and everything as we've run through this first stint, is we do have a faster pair in this series tonight. So just because your driver may have gotten a little bit of damage or may have had an off track, they're definitely not out of it yet. They can come in, get it fixed. Like Eddie said earlier, they can use those magic zip ties, put that bumper back on, and they can get back out there and get after it.
Well, don't look now. Here comes Jeremy Garner. Has run down Jamie Lukey. He's going to go wide again. He says, I don't care, race control. You're going to have to penalize me. I'm using all of the track. You put it here. I'm using it. I'm going to use some of the dirt, too, as they go down into the corkscrew. Jeremy Garner all over the back bumper of the 16. Jamie Lukey, though, standing strong, not making a mistake, actually pulls him through the corkscrew. And it looks like Jamie Lukey actually going to come down pit road, says, okay, I don't want to make any mistakes. Come down pit road and get this pressure off of me. Is Jeremy Gardner going to fly right by?
That's going to register Jeremy Gardner up in P2 as Bobby Germain has also made their pit stop on this lap. The Corvette of Jeremy Gardner yet to make a pit stop.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Yeah, too much. You know, everybody's taking 4 tires and fuel. And you can see it takes about 22 seconds to do that. No, it looks like Brock Price may have had a penalty. He has got a black flag, so maybe just a slowdown. We'll see if he's gonna have to serve it. I don't know how many incidents he has. I don't know if there's an incident limit or not, but he's got a black flag at the moment. We'll see if he has to serve that in pit road. A lot of times if you cut the course too much, it gives you a slowdown penalty. And you have to serve that in about 50 seconds or so, or it'll take you out of the race. So we'll see if he continues on, able to get that black flag cleared.
Yep, it looks like it might have been accrual of penalty points there for Brock Price. Close relative of Kevin Price, we've also talked quite a bit about tonight.
Yeah, so he's going to have to come down pit road for that, I do believe. And what's a stop and go or is it a 40-second hold? I'm not real sure. I can probably get that information, but it'll be some sort of penalty that he has to serve. And what that is for those that are watching, they have a penalty limit here. Once they go over, they get a drive-through or a stop and go or a 40-second hold. And then it kind of gets worse and worse as he's got a lot of traffic in front of him. Brian Frauheiger and Josh Unger. Is he going to split the difference and go right between them? My goodness.
Yeah, to answer your question with that, Eddie, the incident penalty limit, I just took a look, is 12. So once they hit that 12th incident is when they get that first penalty. And then if you hit 20, it looks like you actually are DQ'd at that point. So some of these guys that we've seen having the off tracks and incidents will have to keep an eye on that.
Oh, Unger! Oh! Solid contact with the outside barrier wall leading up to the corkscrew off the nose of Brian Frauheiger. I'm gonna get a better look at this here.
Yeah, going to the inside, just trying to clear, just bad timing between the two of them. It's going to send Unger into that wall hard. You can see the bumper has fell off of it, and I don't believe he's used his fast repair, so that's something that he's going to have to come in and get fixed at this point.
Yeah, I think I think he had felt like he'd gotten around Frauheiger and was really paying attention to that corkscrew. We talked about that corkscrew. We'll probably mention it a few more times tonight. But I think he was looking forward to that corkscrew, trying to get over to the right, and just hadn't cleared Frauheiger yet. It comes right across his bumper. That poor Mercedes needs a lot of work, and you can see he is struggling. He's close to pit road. Oh, I wouldn't have done that. Oh, I hate to see that. He could have gone to he was just right around the corner from pit road, but obviously Josh didn't want to maybe, hurt anybody else's race. But big damage on that Mercedes.
Better safe than sorry, but we do have a fast repair here in this series, so he's going to get those magic zip ties and grab his front wing from the backstretch and his front bumper, and he's going to be good as new coming out of there. Ken Huber.
We actually just had a car around on track. It looked like Bobby Germain actually just spun over in the Andretti hairpin.
Yeah, Zachary Menace was like, I think I'll take a little bit of this, and he is right on his bumper now as we watch this battle. As, I don't know what happened to Jermaine, but definitely lost all that time that he had gained on Zachary Menace. Both these drivers already come down pit road and made their stop, so maybe a little bit of cold tire situation there for Bobby.
Yep, this is a battle for the second spot on the podium right now, between the number 40 Bobby Germain Audi and, in my opinion, the best looking car on track right now, the Air Force machine, the McLaren of Zachary Menace. It's got the shark mouth on it and everything.
Yeah, such an awesome scheme. All these paint teams look really, really good. So a lot of guys either putting in work or trading paint specials that are really nice. As you can see, Zachary putting the pressure here on Bobby Germain, trying to get that inside track. Now they're going to go nose to tail, get that draft down this front straightaway through turn 1 and now down into turn 2. We'll see if Zachary takes a dive. Bobby Germain covers it, and Zachary going to just try to stay right there on that back bumper, try to force Germain back into another mistake.
He backed it up a little bit, waiting for Germain to rotate wide, but nothing doing. They take the apex into the next corner, and they're in the same spot as they were before. Menace going to wait for another miscue by Germain to grab that spot.
We've seen very few passes on the track that haven't been due to incidents, so I don't blame Zachary for trying anything here, but when somebody starts to fade, it's funny. You see you kind of got those like warthog teeth on the front, but I think it's maybe like a shark teeth at this moment, as he is like Jaws hunting down Bobby Germain, smells that blood in the water, and he's like, I'm now going to put a little pressure on you. I've seen you already make one mistake. You may be, I don't know, maybe you got a little bit of tennis elbow, maybe you're sweating, or you need to turn the fan on or something, I don't know, but now I'm going to start putting more pressure on you, try to make you make another mistake.
Yep, but that also equals a little more pressure from Menace pushing on those tires to possibly cue into a mistake of his own and have Bobby Germain walk away.
Great point.
You see Bobby pulling away a little bit there as they head down the front straightaway into turn 1. Definitely got a good drive out of that last turn coming back to the line there. And, you guys have touched on it a little bit here. Something I've kind of noticed with watching these two battle is it seems like Zachary can gain a lot of time getting into the turn, but it seems like Bobby has that better drive off where he's able to pull away from him a little bit. So do you guys attribute that to just driving style? Do you think maybe Zachary's just sending it a little bit harder into the turns, or do you think that it's a difference with how the cars drive with what we've got with these GT3 differences?
I really think that it's just a matter of being the chaser. You know, you can drive it in a little bit deeper when you've got somebody, you know, they're the ones making the brake marker. So you know if he makes the corner, you brake a little bit later, you'll know you make it. So I think that's what he's trying to do, just watching the back bumper and saying, hey, look, I'm gonna push it harder than you are. But the thing about a mid-engine car like they're both driving is it's about hitting it perfectly. You've got to hit the corners just right. If you drive too hard into the corner, mid-engine cars will definitely punish you. Now, one car that won't be punished for something like that is this little green Porsche that we're seeing on screen from Kevin Price. I don't know if y'all have ever driven the Porsche, but it is a blast to drive. It seems like that front bumper is still intact.
Yep, and he's using it to chase down the number 25 at Jason Black, someone we haven't talked about too much, and that's for the 9th position.
Yeah, really good battle. Kevin has rebounded really nice from that off track that he had, still able to put some pressure on here as he takes a look going into the corkscrew. Tough to make that work on the outside, but we'll see if he can set up a little crossover here coming out of the corkscrew.
Yeah, go ahead.
Price got a ton of momentum out of turn 6 and into the corkscrew. It looks like he's got even more trying to pull him down toward the front.
That Porsche is driving really good now. He's going to go around the outside. Let's go.
This is an absolute power move out of Kevin Price to take that position.
Jason Black, you got to, something went wrong, man. You got to fight a little bit harder than that right there. That was incredible, though, by Kevin Price. What a move around the outside and takes that position. That was for the 9th spot. So Kevin Price trying to make up a little ground like Jeremy Garner and try to get back up to the field. You can see Kent Huber right behind him as they are in danger of going a lap down here.
Yep,
I'll tell you what, I said not to do this, but I want to go on board with Ken Huber, and I want to show the folks, this is the first time we have ever broadcasted a GT3, and I want to show what it looks like to be as fast as he is. You think, okay, he's going to drive down the corner, he's going to be driving wild, he's going to be making all these crazy moves. Him, Cody McElwain, these really good road course races, look at the traffic that's in front of him. We'll see how he manages that. Oh, that's a tough spot. He's actually going to go off track.
Netcode contact between him and Brian Frauhager right there.
But yeah, great job by both of them. But watch just how smooth he is. He's lapping almost a second faster than anybody else. And look at the movement of the wheel. It's so smooth. He's not driving. He's not going back and forth, counter steering a whole bunch. It's just smooth, purposeful. Pointing the car at the right time, hitting the gas at the right time, hitting the apexes perfectly, and that is why he is so much faster than everybody else. You'd think he's just driving violently, but you'll go watch those guys that are lapping a second faster, and they're just smooth like they're Sunday driving, and that's exactly what Ken's doing at the moment, and he is cruising right now, 23 seconds ahead of a battle for second place that's still going on, Jermaine and Menace.
Ken Huber pitching an absolute gem as we get towards the back third of this race. 21.5 minutes left on the clock here as we're watching Zachary Menace try to make a move on Bobby Germain, pulling him down out of turn 11 onto the front stretch.
Yeah, this battle's been heating up again the last few laps. Zachary in that McLaren able to pull back on Bobby Germain a little bit and close back in after we saw Bobby kind of pull a gap on him a little bit there earlier. And even the last lap, they were really even on lap times, but the lap before that, Zachary was almost a full half second faster than Bobby chasing him down. So he's got the pace in that car, so we'll have to see what he can do, if he's able to get some momentum and send it on him, or if he's able to force Bobby into a mistake, which is going to be really hard to get him to do.
As Eddie pointed out earlier, as the chaser, you are at liberty to figure out when the next move is made. Jermaine just has to run his line. He can change whatever little bit he needs to try and keep Menace behind, but Menace is on a tear right now as we get up into the corkscrew. We're watching him get within a car length. Cuts it a little bit more narrow down through the exit, and now they're going to be on even keel up towards turn 10 here.
Yeah, going down into the next corner. Oh, and a little bit, he goes a little bit wide there. Going to miss the corner, and that's going to lose a ton of time for Zachary Menace as he goes a little bit wide, clips the, that's dangerous to do. You see that happen in NASCAR a lot, clipping the outside in the grass or the dirt, going into a corner. So a scary moment there for Zachary, but he is staying right there with Jermaine. I just don't know where he's going to pass him. He's going to have to be aggressive, take advantage of some of this lap traffic, something, because Jermaine has just been lights out in the big passing zones, and there's really only one as Frawheiger pushes Zachary a little bit wide. I think Zachary was expecting Frawheiger to give him that position, but does it, and so Zachary going to lose a ton of time and continues to.
That is something that I don't think Menace is going to be too happy with toward the end here. Back to the drawing board figuratively, or I guess in this case with all the gravel and sand we've got on track, it's probably an Etch-a-Sketch at this point.
Yeah, not happy Zachary Menace is. Now, there is a battle for a couple drivers that are going off the track, and that's Jeremy Garner and Kyle Wilson, who have gotten back together. Jeremy Garner actually had a penalty not too long ago, but still been able to hold on to that 6th position, albeit he is 57 seconds back to your leader, Ken Huber. But now this battle are going to be fighting. Last time by, Kyle Wilson a good bit faster, although he was sort of, he did catch up to Jeremy Garner due to Garner having to sort of serve a slowdown penalty for cutting the course, it looked like.
Jeremy Gardner, the type of driver that you will see use every inch of the track that is available, even if it means, hey, you need to keep at least a little bit of your car on the curbs here. All right. Well, he's going to keep the inside tires on the curb, and he's going to use as much of that gravel as possible that will take.
Oh, he got really loose there. Sorry not to cut you off, but Kyle got really loose. He is driving the wheels off of that thing trying to get to Jeremy Gardner right now.
Yep, he saved it, and they are back right where they were previously. Kyle Wilson chasing that Jeremy Gardner number 42.
This has actually been a great race. I think Laguna Seca puts on such a great, because it bottles you up, you're just not able to make passes. So guys who are, maybe a little bit faster, which I don't think is the case here, but in the battles that we have seen so far, the drivers who are faster just can't get around them. We saw Menace and Jermaine running nose to tail, and now that gap is widened out because of that lap traffic. But it's just been difficult to make a pass without somebody making mistakes. So this track really bottles you up. Just, you think about those bigger tracks that have a lot of really good passing zones, maybe even 2 or 3. But this is, you've got the FIA like, I think it's called the grade 1 tracks, like your Silverstones, the ones that F1 drives on. This is a grade 2, I do believe. And so it's just a tough technical track without much passing opportunity. It makes it difficult to make those passes, even if you're a little bit faster.
And with all those grade 1 tracks in circulation, the grade 2 tracks shine with a different style of racing like we're seeing here from the GT cars. Puts them in a completely different category.
It's just fun. I just love this track because it's just flat fun. I could go out and, there have been times I've quit iRacing and come back and just to log in and race a few laps at Laguna Seca. It's just a fun track to drive. Robert Jermaine coming up on Tyler White, a little bit of lap traffic, catching him in a bad spot because Tyler you really can't let somebody go in the corkscrew, although he's going to prove me wrong. It does a great job, but Jermaine felt like he was losing that gap that he had just gained and tried to put Tyler in a little bit of a pressure cooker down in there. Tyler did a great job of letting him go. That is a crazy place to make a pass.
That is a very courteous move by Tyler White. That has opened up a little bit more room, like the window is opened a little bit for Zachary Menace to try and catch up to Jermaine, but it doesn't look like he's going to catch up too much from it, unless he keeps the draft from White here into turn 1. Whoa!
He said, I'm not getting bottled up behind no lap car this time. I am taking this bad boy, and he drove it right in there. Tyler White did a good job again to staying out of the way, but as you could tell, Zachary is on a mission.
He is trying as hard as he can to get back up to that P2 position that he held earlier, and it doesn't. Nobody's gonna stand in his way. No Porsche, no Audi, not even a Chevrolet.
Well, it's too bad he doesn't have a 30 mil cannon on the front end of that Warthog, and try to take out Jermaine in front of him.
Well, the problem is to just slow him down.
And push him backwards.
Yeah.
Well, about 14 minutes left in this race, and so far, I mean, Huber has a 27-second lead, and then it's a fight for second still. I think Zachary still has something left in the tank, as Jermaine was about half a second faster, maybe a little bit more that last lap. But so far now, just kind of spread out all over the place on this track. Nobody really even close.
Yeah, and as we keep getting down to the end of this, you know, most of us are more familiar with the NASCAR oval side of it, that the patience starts to go out the window a little bit as you get down to the end of those races. You get a little bit more daring with moves, and I think we kind of saw that out of Zachary too there, that, you know, he was sending it on the lap car and just trying to make up time where he can, because he knows the window's closing.
Yeah, at this point, you're just trying to get to the end. You've made it this far in the race, 13 minutes left. You're worn out. You've already starting to feel a little bit of cramps here and there if you're not the most hydrated person. I'm sure Jeremy Gardner's got all kinds of cramps going on at the moment, but you're just trying to get to the finish now, I think is the idea. Don't run off, don't lose what I got, and yeah, just try to get to the end. Just 13 minutes left.
Yep, take whatever you can get, but don't relent in case the guy in front of you makes a mistake, which we're looking at Ken Huber right now. Hasn't had to worry about that. He's been running an absolute gem the entirety of this race. Apart from a little bit of contact with some lap traffic, he is a little under a half a minute ahead of the rest of the field, and he is not looking back.
Yeah, consistently been the fastest driver every lap all night long. Just really impressive what he's able to put together rather out on the track. Even Bobby Jermaine running second, it's been impressive with what he's been able to do. Just running those consistent laps. Anytime somebody's gotten close to him to start putting some pressure, he just keeps that cool, keeps hitting his marks, and he really seems to force the chaser into a mistake more than they force him into a mistake.
Yeah, and you know, we don't have a safety car set up here. We do have race control that will if there's like a track blocker, but normally doesn't happen in these races, so it's
Get around. Jamie Lipke loops it, and it looks like Jeremy Gardner's going to try and get some closing space on that. They were pushing to try and catch up with Samuel Egg. Oh, they caught a little bit too much of the gravel there.
Yeah, the left rear dropped it off into the dirt as he's going into this corner, which is a very tough, like a weird, these two right here are very tough, and so he's trying to get as wide as he can to make it through that corner quick as possible, and just dips the left rear off, and around she went.
Don't look now, we also just lost Jeremy Gardner as well, pushing to try and capitalize on Jamie Lipke, did almost the same thing, and he is towed back to the garage. So that is going to cede 6th place back to Kyle Wilson once everything shakes out.
We were just talking about it, guys. We said, all right, just got to get to the finish. gotta just finish it here. Just 13 minutes left, and no mistakes. You've got what you got at this point, and right there, 2 big mistakes from really good drivers. Lipke gonna be okay, but Gardner, massive damage. Is he around in the same spot, overcorrects back out to the outside tire barrier, and he is out of this one.
Yeah, that is unfortunate with as strong as he has been all night, but it is a saving grace for Jamie Lipke, who looks like they're going to likely walk away with this top 5.
Yeah, looking down the list here, Zachary Menace still the only one that's kind of close. Brock Price running down his relative, Kevin Price. That's be a battle for 8th and 9th maybe in the future, but right now all big separations throughout the field, and just waiting on time to roll down. If you're Ken Huber, you're just kind of letting it ride at this point.
Yes, sir. Do what you've been doing all night. Run it smooth, run it fast, as it looks like he's catching up to the lap machine of Casey Jones going up towards the corkscrew. Wonder if Casey Jones is going to lift like Tyler Black did earlier to let him by, and nothing doing.
Yeah, I don't think Ken's got so much time. He can be patient and let that happen. He doesn't really have to mess around with that, trying to be nice and courteous, especially when you're the leader. You don't want to put anybody in a bad spot. Just let them gather it up, pass it in a good spot, or when they let you go, and just take that gift and just move right on. One thing I do want to talk about, we don't have the QR code, but it's grant application time for Goat Locker Racing, and the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs has provided a grant to for all these guys who have been in this race. You got Nick Hagan, Brian Frauheiger, Joshua Unger, Tyler White, and others that have been the recipients of those sim rigs, all due to a grant given by Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs. And right now, Goat Locker are applying for the grant, and right now they're asking for help. They want our audience to send this little, there's a QR code inside of Goat Locker Racing, but you can do it simply by texting Goat Locker, all one word, to 79848. And that lets the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs know that Goat Locker is worth their time. Hey, this is a good thing. They're not just taking money and doing frivolous things with it. They're making a difference, and Goat Locker is definitely doing that. So hey, reach out. All it takes is one text message, one scan of a QR code, and that lets INVA know that Goat Locker is worth what they're doing for Goat Locker. So I fumbled through that plenty, but it's definitely worth doing. If you got friends and family members, it just takes a second to do that. It just lets them know that Goat Locker has a big reach, and we can continue to work with INVA to do really, really cool things, like giving out 12 sim rigs this year. Pretty incredible.
It is understated how much Goat Locker has done for a lot of the people in this community. Like, I know I wouldn't be here doing this with you guys if Goat Locker hadn't been able to put this sort of thing on. So definitely check it out, grab that QR code, and it's just going to take a little bit of time, and it is going to a excellent place.
Yeah, and they, it's crazy to me how where it's come from. I mean, this league was just, when it first started, there was a vision, but it was just, hey, let's get vets and people that are like-minded in the racing league, and let's support each other. With all of the issues that vets, so many different issues that aren't just one or two that people normally talk about. There's so many things that vets deal with after their time in service, and Goat Locker has always fought to be sort of the haven for, hey, come here, be around folks that you understand, that get you, that understand what you're going through, and hey, it's been a great place. Then they upped the game, turned it to a nonprofit to really make a huge difference with diversion therapy, things to help vets keep their mind off things. Jamie Libke actually drives off the track here going up towards the corkscrew, but help keep their mind off of thoughts, get lost in their thoughts of maybe a little bit too much, and at the end of the day, offer just a place to find that support. And I've seen Simrig giveaway winners in Discord kind of laying their heart out there, saying, I need you guys, I need some support. And so that's all I need to know about what has Goat Locker done, what kind of, is their mission been successful? It has many, many times over, and it will continue to be, I think, for a long time.
Yeah, we hear Pat say it on a regular basis in Discord and drivers meetings and everything, that we're here for more than the racing, and it's really it's true. I mean, it's just, I personally, I'm not a veteran. I've got a lot of military family, but I really respect everything that they've done, and it's really cool to see how not even just the admins of Goat Locker, but just seeing how other veterans that have joined have tried to help other veterans out and everything they're going through. So it's really cool, all the work that they do and everything they put in, and how everything just comes together and gets connected with it.
A little under 5 minutes left in this race. Ken Hubert still has the lead. We took a little Goat Locker break there to talk about some things. I mean, great sponsor, Save 22, Glove Station, a lot of really great partners that are come on board. Lincoln Tech have made a huge difference in that in that mission for Goat Locker, and just, you know, Pat and Jamie. Pat in particular has done so much work, spends so much time. Not to down anybody else, but I don't think anybody would argue saying Pat doesn't do a ton of work for this organization, and it has definitely showed. As you know, we've got 15 drivers that showed up for a GT3 series, 12 races into the season. That doesn't happen in Oval League, so that just is a testament to what Goat Locker means to these guys, means to us, means to you guys that watch these races. That's why we love it, and yeah, it's just been so awesome.
It is excellent to see that everybody is still so enthusiastic about running these races and learning, because I want to say about 80% of the field right now runs the Oval Series, at least one of them throughout the rest of the week on Goat Locker. A few of the drivers here, Ken Huber especially, I've seen only predominantly running in the Road Series. But it's a great opportunity to learn from the guys that are considered either ringers or dudes that do this every day or prefer this method over Oval. And it's an excellent learning experience, and it's great to watch too.
Yeah, coming into the summer, I mean, we got even more cool stuff. We got the 87 series, we got the ARCA, the trucks that are going to return. They're obviously really popular, so they're going to have a spot in the summer series. And we got an IndyCar. How about that? Do a little bit of IndyCar racing. How about?
I think that's the one I'm most excited about, because it's still oval racing, but it's so different than any of the other oval racing that we do. I mean, I'm sure there'll probably be a road course somewhere in there, but I'm curious to see how that's going to flip the field around with who's fast and how these guys do with it.
Yeah, it's all about.
Go ahead.
It's all about working out a skill set that either you have, and that you can like either pass on to others, or people can glean from you during these races, as we've seen people like fighting with each other, getting behind and running as close as they have tonight. Everybody's learning about the person in front of them, and I think IndyCar is going to be a showcase of who knows more at the beginning, and we're going to see a lot closer racing toward the end.
For sure. Yeah, I think, you know, we talked about Jamie Lipke driving all kinds of different vehicles, and I think that's such a good thing. Because you get so much experience in different cars, and you're flexible, your racing skills kind of can kind of cross over multiple times. In open wheel winged cars are going to be a pretty big shock for some of these drivers who've never been in those before. It's such a completely different style of racing. So those who get in there and practice and learn the intricacies of the car will be able to come out on top on that one, because the oval is so much different. Just how we talk about dirty air with next gen, there ain't nothing like dirty air. I think dirty air can be caused by, you know, like a fart coming out of the stands on those cars. You can just run in dirty air by yourself, so it should be a lot of fun though. I can't wait.
Yep, pushing those wings down, as we're seeing the leader Ken Huber on P6, Kyle Wilson with under a minute to go. Kyle trying as hard as he can to stay on the lead lap here.
Yeah, I mean, great drop by Ken. It's just unbelievable. He's really been backing down the pace here the last 5 to 10 minutes. He came over the radio and said, hey, no pressure. Kyle just going to ride here, finish this one off. So just taking a victory lap here. He's going to come down, and I don't know if he's going to take the white flag just yet, but yeah, I mean, just incredible drive and going for win number 7 on the season. It doesn't get any more impressive than that.
Yeah, it's a historic tear and a historic benchmark for next season to see if we can have it either a little bit more competitive up at the top, or if he's just going to try and break his mark next season.
And they are on the white flag, so this is the final lap in this race. Ken Hubert already through the corkscrew. He's coming through the final 3 turns, and he will take that checkered flag and take the win here tonight at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, it's an absolute perfect race by Ken Huber.
Ken Huber rounds it out of turn 11. Kyle Wilson is saved from being a lap down. Ken Huber wins it at Laguna Seca.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. 29 seconds to take the victory at a very tough technical track, and I don't think I saw one single mistake out of Ken.
I think the best part is right now is even after we've called our winner, we're still calling racing right now as Bobby Germain's making his way onto the front straightaway to finish out in P2 once he crosses the line. And then after that, we're going to be following Zachary Minison for the end of the podium. Yep, that Sharkmouth McLaren rounds around turn 11, over the rumble strips, over the grid, and home on the final step of the podium here in California.
Yeah, what a great race. I love this track, and to me, I don't care if the racing's nose to tail or spread out. It's so much fun to watch, and we saw just what it takes to be good here and how difficult it is to run this track. Man, it's so tough to be perfect, and Ken Huber perfect here tonight, did not make a mistake, and it showed. And then we saw so many drivers. We saw, you know, Brian Frauheiger, Jeremy Garner, Joshua Unger all have issues. Multiple, like half the field had some runoffs and wall contact. So I mean, this will put you through the ringer for sure.
Yeah, it was great seeing some of the drivers that did end up having miscues throughout this race fight back and get the positions that they needed to set themselves up for other people making mistakes. Well, we're going to go to a quick commercial here before we get our podium in here, run down our grid, and get some interviews in. So we'll see you here in a moment.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Welcome back to the Goat Locker Racing GT3 Road Series. We just finished up at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and here are the results. Ken Huber brings it home in first. Bobby Germain finishes second. Zachary Minnis in the McLaren finishes third. Samuel Egg in fourth. Jamie Lipke rounding out a top 5.
Coming in 6th place, we've got Kyle Wilson. 7th place, we had Casey Jones. P8, Kevin Price. Battle of the Prices between 8th and 9th, with Brock Price finishing in 9th. And in 10th place, we had Jason Black in his McLaren.
11th, first start for Tyler White. Great drive out of him in that Porsche. Josh Unger comes home in 12th. Jeremy Garner in 13th. Brian Froheiger comes home in 14th. And Nick Hagan is going to round out your field in 15th.
All right, we got our standings out of the way, and I think the only thing left to do is to bring in your winner, Ken Huber. This is Jacob in the booth. You got a copy?
Oh, hey, Jacob. How's it going?
Doing well, sir, but I don't think anyone's doing as well as you. Ken, unlike the A's recently, you pitched a perfect game here in coastal California. What was the pressure level like for you up at the front?
Well, after I got away after a couple seconds, it wasn't too bad, but, you know, it's Laguna, so the worry's always on. You're going to tip a tire off into the sand and get it sideways, and the field's going to run you down. And so I just focused on not running into the sand, and it paid off tonight. Usually I'm pretty good at turning it sideways here.
Yeah, we saw a few drivers dealing with that problem. When that pit cycle shook out, along with the lap car contact between you and Brian Froheiger, what was going through your mind to try and keep that gap over Jermaine?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I had such a good gap that I just went ahead and took 4 tires and put a lot of fuel in just to be safe. Now, you know, had Brian been really close, I'd have probably just taken 2 tires and probably 11 gallons of fuel. But so my strategy was a little bit different, but I was surprised that our pit stops were kind of equal. So I imagine he must have taken 4 tires as well.
Yes, sir. And last but not least, who do you have to thank for putting you in P1 here in Laguna Seca?
Well, I want to thank the league, Goat Locker Racing. It's been awesome to run with these guys on Saturday nights, and thank you guys in the booth tonight. What a welcome surprise! Hopefully, I'll be in there joining you here this summer during the summer season with some of you here. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your time, and congratulations on your win.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, well, I'm standing by with our 2nd place finisher tonight, Bobby Germain. Bobby, this is Daniel up in the booth. You got us?
10-4, I got you.
Hey, well, you had a really solid run tonight. You started P2, you finished P2. I know on the stat sheet it might look like you kind of had a boring race from that aspect, but man, you had some challengers up there, and you kept it between the ditches all night. So what little bit did you need to be able to try to chase Ken down, or what are you trying to work on to get that gap shrunk down a little bit to him with how he's been running this season?
That's a good question. Just keep putting in the grind. Try to keep pressure on him. The closer I am to him, the more I can see what he's doing. Learn off his line. Just keep running up front. Keep running with these guys. And just keep involving my craft and keep going better and better and better. But tonight was it was difficult. Lots of stones on there. Track was slippery a little bit. Just had nothing for Ken, though. Got loose a couple times, almost lost it, saved it, and yeah, ended up P2.
And I know you mentioned that the track was a little bit tough with some of the dirt and debris that was out there. You definitely had a strong challenger there for a while with Zachary Menace that finished in 3rd. What was going through your mind with trying to hold him off? Because it looked like he was throwing the kitchen sink at you trying to get by.
Yeah, he was definitely there. He had me nervous. I was kind of watching the mirror a little bit more than I should have been, looking out the window, and lost it a couple times. Thank God I could correct it real quick and get back on there. But yeah, he had me a little bit nervous.
Well, I'll tell you what, it didn't look like you were nervous. It looked like you had everything calm and under control. 2nd place, really good run, really good season for you so far here. Before we let you go, who do you got to thank? Any sponsors, shout-outs, anything like that?
Yeah, let's give a great big shout-out to the Goat Locker team, everybody over at Invents and Save 22, everything that you guys are doing over there. Nasties, everybody, thank you.
All right, well, there you have it. Our 2nd place finisher, Bobby Germain, with a solid night here at Laguna Seca.
Well, I am caught up with Zachary Menace, your 3rd place finisher, and Zachary, pretty great drive for you, and you had a great battle there with Bobby Germain about the middle of the race, where you were trying to track him down. Some lap traffic kind of got in the way. But seemed like you had a pretty fast car tonight. Talk to me about it.
Sorry, was that for me?
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to track him down. I pitted a lap early, and I think he made a mistake. I don't know what happened. The gap closed, and then I was kind of just following him, hoping another mistake would happen, and hit some lap traffic and kind of wore my tires out trying to stick with him, and I just lost him at the end there.
Yeah, I mean, what a track like Laguna Seca has very few passing zones. It's so tough to make those passes. And what's your kind of strategy coming into a track like this?
I mean, it's honestly, I think the first time I've raced, anything other than Mazdas at Laguna, and like you said, it is a tougher track to pass at, and my strategy is I like to just try to play it patient. I'm never really aggressive when it comes to racing. I kind of maybe fake inside, try to cause the other driver to make a mistake. I don't like really being aggressive and causing contact between two drivers. And I hadn't gotten much practice in this week at this track because, I've had 12-hour days at work and I haven't even been home since Wednesday. So I was just kind of taking it easy, letting the car do its work for me.
Well, it did its work. You've had a great season. You've got the second best average finish out of the drivers that have been here most of the season. You're sitting third in points, and that's likely where you're going to finish. Just unless I don't see any kind of big changes there. But kind of reflect on the season so far. Have you enjoyed it? Has it been enjoyable? Just kind of what are your thoughts?
I mean, to recap the season, it's been the Chase and Ken. That's the biggest thing. First race of the season, I had a rough start. But after that, a lot of the tracks we've been to are tracks I've raced at, and iRacing a lot, so I kind of just fit the groove. It seems like, third place, maybe sometimes second place is where I kind of just end up driving. And, I've had a couple rough qual sessions, and just made the best of, other people's mistakes, as I hate to say it. It's awesome. We've had a really good group in the GT3 series. We got, I would say, a good group of 8 to 10 guys who have been there week in, week out. And we've had some bigger races at more well-known tracks of, 20 plus, and it's awesome to see new people coming into GT3 cars and trying them out, and more people joining us, and it's not the same 8 to 10 people racing every week.
Yeah, for sure. Well, man, congratulations on a third place finish. Great race tonight. And the floor is yours, man. Who do you got to thank? All of our sponsors.
I think I run the Save 22 on my car the most. As I speak for a lot of us, we've all lost somebody, a brother of ours and all that, and so I really enjoy them. And then I think I run InVets on my car as well. I'd like to thank them. So it's just a great community here, and I hope more people join and join the friendship we all have here.
All right, well, there you have it. Third place finisher, Zachary Menace.
And I don't think he could have put that any better. We have to thank everybody with all of our sponsors for being able to put this on, especially the ones that are helping us out and the members of this community with mental health and things to that regard. That was an awesome race, and I think it was an even more awesome debut for the GT3 series. Great talking. It was excellent to be up here in the booth with you guys. Thank you, Eddie, and everybody up at V-Speed. Daniel, how do you think your night has been going?
I tell you what, that was a fun race to watch up here, and it's the first time I've really watched the GT3 cars, like just sat and watched them, not actually really participating, other than when we've run like the 24, which you're still participating even if you're spotting. So it's just really, the drivers out there did a really good job, and they made it easy to call this one.
Absolutely. And Eddie, I don't think I gotta ask you too much, but how do you think everything worked out tonight?
I mean, great race. I'm so happy to get the sports car series broadcasted at least once this season. It definitely has been a great series, and so it deserves a little bit of airtime. I know Tim Jones has been wanting to get this thing broadcasted for a while, so and just gotta thank you guys. I mean, you guys stepped up and said, hey, I want to get into broadcasting, I want to try some stuff, and then when I put out feelers, hey, you guys want to try to do this, and you guys jumped on board and you knocked it out of the park. Incredibly tough booth to have 3 people in the booth, and then, you know, to produce a race for the first time live. Incredibly tough to do, and it just shows why Goat Locker has some of the best members on iRacing, because you guys killed it. So congratulations, big clap to you guys, and guys who watched the race in chat. Y'all let them know how good of a job they did. Just you guys knocked it out of the park.
I appreciate that very much. Well, we're off next week to the opposite side of the country at Homestead, Miami. For everyone here in the broadcasting booth, I'm Jacob Lenke. We had Daniel Cunningham, Eddie Smith, Skylar Daly on production, and a special thank you to Timothy Jones. We'll see you next week.